So guys, without further ado, let's begin. So today you're going to be learning how to draw a realistic eye with just basic tools like basic pencils, HB and 2B. These are just local pencils. And you also be using a makeup brush, a blush brush, and of course a razor blade to sharpen up the pencil. And also this is called cardboard paper, a local paper, then local ruler of course, where you have the inches calibration. There should be an inches calibration, and you also have a q-tip which you'll be using, and this is also called cotton ball in some places. Then you also have erasers, and this is sandpaper. This sandpaper is used to file down the charcoal pencils, the graphite pencils into graphite powder. That's what we will also be using. And of course this is just a sellotape to go down the paper. The first thing we'll be doing is to sharpen up our pencil, which I'll be using this one, the HB pencil. As our pencil is sharpened now, this is the HB. I want to make the outline of the picture I'm drawing. The picture is displayed right now on the screen. If you don't have the picture, just check the link below. You'll be able to download it. And for people that don't know how I made the grid on the picture, just check the other video that is linked to this particular video, and you get to know how I was able to use grid method to get the picture with it. So that's what I'm going to be doing, the grid method. It helps to get accurate proportion on your picture in order for you to transfer it into your paper. This helps for good practice, is for realism actually. If you want to make realistic portraits, you can use the grid method to get accurate outline. So that's what we're going to be doing. So the reference picture is about 5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to be doing that here, just cutting out 5 by 5 inches, but allowing some amount of paper so I could be able to place it on my board, my drawing board properly. So over here, this is just my ruler which I'm using. It has about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calibrations. This is just off. So from here to here, from 1 to 6 is obviously 5 inches. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But I'm going to just allow half inch to be to the paper for me to be able to place it on my board. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to measure half inches first, half inch first, and also half inch over here first. I'm going to connect the lines, connect the lines. Then now from here is when I could now start measuring. Okay, let me be sure this is half inch. This is half inch. From here I could now start measuring the particular 5 inches which I want to use for my drawing. So this is 1 to 5. 1 to 6 is obviously 5 inches. So I could start marking all the inch points. I'll do the same thing for here, so I could have parallel lines. So remember 1 to 6. 1 to 6 is 5 inches. So I could connect this edge line first. Later I will connect the other lines. So connect this edge line, and also to the height is also 5 inch, and the same way, okay, the same way is going to have this 0.5 inch here. Okay, here is also going to have 0.5 inch. So let me do that here. So this half inch. So that's it. So now I could start also marking the horizontal, the vertical lines too. So over here I'm also still going to start with a half inch. This half inch I'm keeping, as I mentioned before, it's just for me to be able to place it into the paper. I want to also tape the edges so that to give me fine edges, but you're going to see after I cut the paper the beauty of it. It's optional to actually leave half inch from the size which you want to actually make. So I started with a half inch, then I will now mark 1 to 6. So 1 to 6 inches. Over here, I'm going to make the same thing, half inch, then 1 to 6. And you have your half inch. So, okay, I didn't add half inch here. So I'm going to connect the lines. My ruler doesn't seem to be long enough, so I just have to make the center mark here. So this is centimeter. So I need to make center mark the same way I made other ones, half inch, then mark 1 to 6. I just need the center line for accurate line, since my ruler, which I'm currently using, is not long enough. Now I'm just using thick line for this edge because I want to cut it out. But for the internal one, it's gonna be light. But still use thick one, sure, because I still want to tape it. So connect the half inch lines. So you're gonna get something like this, which internally is 5 inches. But I'm going to cut out this other side. So you, for the cut out, you can use the razor blade, or you could as well use scissors. So you cut out the edges from the full cardboard paper or whatever paper you choose to use. So here now we have the full drawing. So I want to use my tape to hold down the paper. So observe how I'm gonna tape it to this line, because I want to have the beauty of seeing the line after I'm done drawing, to have fine edges on my drawing. It's gonna enable me get fine edges on my drawing when I'm done. So that's how I achieve it. I could tape it down and do the other edge too. So because the paper is not really lapping very well on the board, I will just add a little more tips on the edges. So I just need to start connecting the lines of the inches, which is what I'm doing. Now I'm gonna do this with light lines, faint lines, because I don't want this grid to be so on to be so difficult with erasing. So that's why I'm connecting all the inch lines. That's done with the vertical lines. Of course, I'm gonna move over to the horizontal ones. You could then see how I'm holding my pencil. In order for me to get light lines, I'm holding my pencil at the tip of the pencil, not at the center. So that's it, guys. So now, even on the picture you're seeing right now on the screen, you could see that there are 5 blocks of inches, and this is also what is replicated here on the paper. So you just have to follow the grid in order to get accurate proportion on our paper before we proceed to the shading process. Okay guys, so this is me sketching the eye. So you can see side by side with the picture, reference picture and the drawing which I'll be doing. So I'm just gonna follow this grid which I've made and also on the picture. So if you could see on the eye, I could have some eye shapes, eye marks. I'm just going to follow some of the broad shapes I'm going to be having there. I'm not going to make so many things so much detail. So I'm going to follow some of the of them I'll be seeing, following some of the waves of the eye. When you're drawing something like this, you really need to be careful, not really marking out every single thing because remember, this is an eye, it needs to be natural. So it doesn't mean that you have to make every strand of the hair exactly, but you need to try to use your eyes to see which area the eyes are falling. So you're gonna still mark shapes. Now all these broad shapes which you're marking help you guide where exactly you're going to make all these shapes later, even in your overall shading, right? So making all the marks might not really make all the marks per se in terms of the eyebrow. I'm gonna be trying to make most of them which I'm seeing right now. The broad shapes we are seeing, that's what we are actually marking out. So over here we are seeing all of these eye, the eyelid. So that's what I'm marking out now. Then also now I could also mark out the bird shape which is on the pupil, the eyeball. Then also to this mark still on the eyelid. The plan of using grid is just to follow the grid how you see it on the paper. Just follow the grid lines and make the same marks how it is on the paper, how it is on the picture. Make the same mark on your paper, and you see that the whole picture start forming on your paper. The sketch start making sense even on your paper. So it's by you following the grid consecutively and carefully too. And don't try to mark so much amount of details while you're marking your um, your outlines. Try to be accurate as possible. Fight. So this is our sketch, right? You can see it. This is actually the sketch of our drawing. Now we have to proceed to shading. Now this is the HB pencil which I used. I have to sharpen this pencil. Now when we sharpen this pencil, we are going to use the powder and we're going to fire this powder inside this container over here. So that's what we are going to do. So mind you, this is a 2B graphite pencil which I'm gonna fire down here. So I'm gonna be doing that. It's gonna take some time, but we just have to get to do that. Right. If there is need to get more powder, graphite powder, we're going to fire that more. The picture again, side by side with the drawing. So that's how we're gonna be drawing. So I'm gonna start by using the graphite powder with the with a brush. Just dip it into it a little bit, try to tap it out not to take so much, then hover around the whole paper to kind of shade the whole paper, light shading. Now you're not going to use so much pressure while doing this. Use a very big brush. I advise you use a big brush like I am using. This big brush help you get a smooth blended shade with it, and not any harsh lines. So you're gonna do the same thing, not taking much powder, still shading around. While shading, still observe the reference picture, so you should know that there are some parts that are lighter than others, so you won't be able to you won't make the part that are meant to be lighter much darker. You can see that while I'm shading, it seems like the grid lines are disappearing. This is because I didn't use so much pressure when rolling the grid lines. I made the grid lines as light as possible. So I'm not just going to shade every single thing. I'm a little bit light before I go deep into some areas. If I wanted, I could use the eraser to clean some part of the grid lines that seem to still be showing. Then still shade over it with my brush. That's what I'm using. It's just a local eraser. It's no special eraser. All tools I'm using here is they are local tools. This will prove to you that you can also be an artist. If you're willing to pay or spend the time to be so. These are the marks which I used when drawing the grid. It's kind of cleaning it and shading over it again. So before we go on, you can just take more charcoal. Since we have done everything once, we can just take more charcoal and a little bit mark shade over the place that seem to be a little bit darker. We're going to work this thing step by step, but we just want to do this now, right? Then now you could do this, or maybe later see your eraser. Since you don't have so much Pro Tools, since your eraser has sharp edges, so if it doesn't have sharp edges, you can still as well use your blades, cut your eraser to have sharp edges just like this. And you're gonna use these sharp edges and kind of mark out those highlights. They're actually in the picture. Mark some highlights. Highlights are meant to come at the last edge of our paper, but we want our drawing to be looking so good even as we start, so that this will kind of trick our brain to know that we are making progress while we are going, right? We're making progress. So just want to mark some highlight out, like what we see on the picture. So I have one here also. Also have some highlights here also. Then also I have some highlights here and some highlights over here too. So these are just little highlights which I'm marking. That's it. Now, since we shaded over our drawing, there are some parts of the drawing that seem to be loosed out. Now, I'm just going to use my HB to kind of mark out all those edges that were loosed out, like here and here. Also, the eyebrow marks, I'm still gonna mark all of those. Now, in drawing, you should note to ensure that your hand doesn't smudge over the drawing so much while you're drawing. That would help your drawing to be neat and good. So now, the way I start my drawing is to first work from dark to light, more, and to also work from this edge of the paper down over here. But in this case, I want to take a little bit of different approach. Okay, so what I'm gonna be doing is to work from the iris, then outwards to spread out to the paper. So I'm gonna work from the iris. Now this is where the Q-tip comes in. I'm gonna be using one of the Q-tip here, the cotton board as we call it in Nigeria over here. Then also I'm gonna be using part of the earbud. Now I could start anywhere I want, but for this I want to start from the ear and the iris. I'm just gonna be working this in circular motion. Then of course this center place we're gonna be using to be later to shade. So I'm gonna shade everything. Circular motion, that's what I'm doing. Circular motion with the Q-tip cutting board. Try not to lose the center mark there. We're going to still use our eraser to work out some places, so don't be scared. And also to our pencils. So still add a little bit here. Remember circular motion and some linear and curved motion. Now it seems like I've lost my mark here, but I haven't really. So I'm just gonna shade this black with my 2B pencil, the center mark over here, so I won't be able to lose it. Now you should notice that graphite shines. That's why you kind of seeing this like a shine. So I'm gonna adjust the camera a little bit so you won't be able to see the shine.